Welcome back to Cheaper Pop Culture, the show that some people seem to have a secret grudge against. But fine, for all of you out there, you don't get to learn about all the other kind of pop culture cheapness lurking around in the shadows. Like what, you ask? Well, the MCU and even its extended cousins, Fox and Sony, have banded together in a mutual disdain for certain seemingly innocuous things. Is there a secret underlying reason that connects all of these threads into one massive conspiracy? Well, only one way to find out, aside from other ways of finding out. The Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to have an issue against headgear as a whole. When you think about how many characters in the comic books have head dressings and how few of them maintain their look on film, you begin to realize that there might be something to this. For starters, let's look at Thor and Loki. Sure, they briefly don their protective dome pieces in film, but most of the time, and for no reason at all, they just walk around completely helmetless like that kid you knew growing up who people said was good looking, until he went for that one bike ride. Admittedly, in some cases, this hat-free look is for the better, like Hawkeye with his awful costume being badly overdue for an update. Now, the general excuse for why many characters, such as Captain America, keep headwear on for about as long as babies do is because the studio is paying a lot of money for these actors and they want to see what they paid for. But this doesn't account for Thanos, who is a CGI California raisin played by Josh Brolin, who we never really get to see as Josh Brolin. But yet, he still takes his hat off right in the beginning of Infinity War. Now, another lame excuse that has been used for Spider-Man since, well, forever, is that the actor portraying Spidey needs to show his performance through his face. But Spider-Man's mask has become such a problem that it seems that just about every villain that's ever faced him gets to find out his identity because, well, he has to take it off. Oh, but back onto the performance side of things. With the new expressive eyes that the MCU Spider-Man costume has, showing his facial expressions really isn't as much of an issue anymore. After all, it does work for Deadpool. Well, at least the second time around. Too bad it didn't stick for his other X-Men counterparts such as Wolverine, who has never worn his mask in all of Hugh Jackman's time as the character. For whatever reason, have you noticed that comic book films seem to have a problem with the idea that Peter Parker can be a grown-up? In the comic books, Spider-Man was only in high school for the first few years. Originally, the comics maintained a more real-life chronological continuity. It was only after they started going on for a really long time that writers realized that they had to start slowing things down. But for some reason, Hollywood seems to want to Holden Caulfield Spider-Man into staying Spider-Boy, seemingly until the end of time. Because it seems that every time an on-screen Pete gets even close to entering the workforce as a full-grown adult, they want to pull him right back in. Tobey Maguire got out of high school in the first movie, but stayed in college from 2002 until 2007 at the earliest. Then Andrew Garfield finally got to graduate high school at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, only to get his awful movie rebooted. Now, typically, the excuse for this is that we don't want to see this genius kid as a college graduate because he will no doubt be rich, and Peter Parker needs to stay poor and struggling to provide for his Aunt May. Oh, and by the way, Tom Holland, stop just calling her May. She is Aunt May, damn it! Show some respect! But there's a problem with that. First, just because you're smart doesn't mean you'll be rich. Second, why does he have to be poor in the first place? We went an entire movie without seeing the web-slinger web swing in Manhattan. Why? Because people felt that it was time to see something different. Yeah, so great, do that, but let's not have Peter Parker who's old enough to rent a car. Nah, don't do that. That would make no sense. Oh, and also, I get that they want to see him struggling and having a nothing job in order to help out Aunt May. But sadly, 2 out of 3 Spider-Man in film, at least as of this recording, weren't seen to have a J. Jonah Jameson to work for. And furthermore, let's not pretend like this is still the 1960s, where a teenager could be the man of the house taking care of a family all on his own if he had to. Plus, Aunt May isn't even a decrepit old lady anymore. Oh, and if you're one of those people that say that Peter Parker has to stay in high school for the girl drama, are you seriously gonna pretend like dating in adulthood is any easier? Because if you're a grown adult watching a YouTube comic book channel and you have an easy love life, you. And finally, while we're on the subject of dating, how about this weird thing that keeps happening? Batman and Barbara Gordon? Now, some of you might think that this was just a simple one-off that was part of the completely unnecessary first half of the Killing Joke animated movie, but you'd be wrong, because in the Great Diniverse, it was revealed in Batman Beyond that Bats and She-Bats dated in the DCAU as well. Like, do we not talk about the fact that Dick Grayson is, you know, a viable option for Barbs, and that they're supposed to be together? I mean, it's super clear, it's very obvious that Batgirl really wants Dick. I instantly realized I should have worded that differently. Well, there you have it, just some more examples of the cheapness of pop culture. Now, join me next time on this channel, because you ought to, if you care. And you should care. You better care. Why don't you care? You should. I keep telling you to care. Come on, care. Care. Like the end of that Care Bears movie where they kept saying they care. I mean, the end of that Care Bears movie that I heard about. Not saw. Yep. Bye.